Hey, what's going on YouTube? Street Riders 209. So I got a buddy of mine who is redoing his Chevy truck, and he hit me up, asked me if I can shave his tailgate. So I told him to bring it by. I'd get it done whenever I have time. So let me show you guys. This is it right here. First thing I noticed was that obviously his handle is missing, busted, missing a clip. So I got the clip right here. Went to O'Reilly's, got them. They're like $3.50. The next part I did was order a basically a shaving kit or a handle relocating kit. Let me show you guys what's basically in the box. Alright, so this is what comes in the kit. You got your handle repositioning bracket, which goes on the back side of the tailgate. Got a couple screws. You don't have to use these screws. What I did on a couple of other ones I've done is I just rivet them in place. And then you got your sheet metal piece that goes on there. Now, the thing about this one is that you have to, well, you don't have to, but I'm going to trim it and get it as close as I can to the inside of here. Because I don't want to just overlap it, weld the outside, and then leaves a big flat area. So I'm going to be kind of just using the hammer to kind of shape this a little bit, trim these ugly corners so that they curve a little bit better to this. Then once that's there, I'm going to stitch weld it all the way around and then eventually weld the full thing. If the mistake that I did on my truck, back in 09 when I shaved mine, was that I just stitch welded. And what happened with that over a span of 3 or 4 years, after we did the body work on it, it started cracking on the outside. The Bondo did, So this one I'm gonna show you guys. Basically, just weld the full thing all the way around, so that there's no cracks anywhere in between. There's no open areas that could flex, and therefore, ruining the Bondo. I'm not going to show the bodywork part of this because he's going to have this taken to a shop where they're going to match, do the bodywork on this area and match the paint to his truck that he's having painted. So basically this video is only going to be for that fabrication part of shaving the tailgate. Let's toss that. So the first thing I'm going to be doing, also, since, like I mentioned, since I don't have the handle, I will be doing a custom handle that's gonna sit flush to this piece, and I've already have it on mine. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at it, but it's just I'm gonna be using these little brackets for the original handle as guides to make new flat sheet metal ones. Weld them vertical, and then weld the handle. And he wants me to do like a Chevy bow tie cutout like on my truck. So let's get to it. First thing I'm going to do is remove these clips, remove the handle, and insert this piece. So let's get to that. Alright, so here is the piece. So you guys can see the original handle is busted. So this is the piece that I will be basically having to modify and remake two brackets that fit exactly like this inside there. Alright, so first thing is first, we are gonna have to basically, let me get a little better of an angle. Alright guys, so now that we got that bracket removed, we're gonna have to set this relocating bracket kind of where we know we want it. So we gotta make sure we align these holes in the center, and they're pretty close. So one thing you gotta always keep in mind is that this lip has to clear this little hump right here on the tailgate. So just kind of look down on it, make sure that it's, you know, that you're clear, and that's where you're gonna make your lines. So I'm gonna mark okay, so that is the part for here, but of course you got to cut further down. So you just kind of set it back down. So right there is my mark. So that's what I'll be cutting. That's the square. Don't be too concerned about cutting, you know, past the line or before the line. Either way, you can grind it more if you need to, but this has a lot of area this way and a lot of area this way, that way, and this way. So, you know, as long as your line is within here, this whole bracket will cover everything. So it's not a big deal. One thing I will be doing though is, I don't like how these just have three little tacks. I'm just kind of welded at least a ½ inch here, ½ inch here, and the same on this piece. So always make sure you do that, because these can actually break in time with just those tiny little tacks. So here's my rough cut. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that with the grinder and then pick this up. All right guys, so I did decide to I'm gonna go ahead and just trim this to fit inside of this circle, this little indentation, rather than doing a cutout, mainly because of the support. You know, I want the tailgate to be nice and firm. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. I'm gonna be sanding all of this down so I can cut this, you know, to shape. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing right here is I'm going to be folding this whole bracket up. I'm just going to use some pliers. Or not the bracket, the little lip. There you go. I'm mainly doing this so that the bolts don't hit the bolts from the bracket of the actual relocator. All right, there you go. what I ended up deciding is, if I have to, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this and re-weld it about a 1/4 inch lower. I have enough space. I have about a 1/2 inch space right here to be able to do that. All that's gonna do is bring these bolts up a little bit higher so that they're not touching the back of, or on the inside of the back of the tailgate. The one I did, you know, it was a different company that I bought it from. This was, you know, 7 years ago. Actually, no, it was in 09, so it's been a lot longer. But that one was perfect. This one, you know, I don't know if it's because they're mass produced now. They don't really take in consideration all those dimensions and measurements. But yeah, it's not fitting 100%. So if I have to, I'm just gonna cut this, both cuts, and then just bring it down a 1/4 inch and re-weld it. So let me do one final test fit. But first, now that I got this cleaned up, I am gonna go ahead and kind of just, you know, like you could tell right off the bat. So all I have to do there, since all 4 of these sides are exposed, all I really got to do is come from here and cut right there. Same thing for this side. All I really got to do is cut like that. Same for here. And it doesn't have to be perfect because, like I said, it's going to be filled with Bondo once everything's welded. So it's better for you to have a dip than to have a raised area on the steel. You know, because a raised area, they're going to have to sand it down, possibly cut through. On a dip, all they do is just fill it up with a little bit more Bondo, so it's not a huge deal. So this is what I'll be cutting. Not to be perfect. This is just kind of like a freestyle, I guess. Alright guys, so that's kind of how. See, now I got to hit it a few times with a hammer to make sure that it kind of curves a little bit better. Just gonna grind this corner and this corner a little bit more. Alright guys, so this is where we're at. I see that's a pretty good fit right there. I'm gonna go ahead and trim. No, I think I'm good. They feel pretty flush on the edges right here. So how I would do it there, I would tack this corner, and down here, and then I would force this down that way. So let's do that. Alright guys, so first thing I did was just practice on a small piece of that I just cut to make sure I'm not going to eat through this sheet metal the second I touch it. And I am feeling confident, so that feels good on the bottom. Actually feels really good. So now it's got to push this down on this side. Make sure I get it as flush as I can. There we go. Feels good. Alright, so I'm going to let it cool down for a few minutes and then I'll finish it off. Alright guys, so I removed the bolts for this bracket and I re-put it back on here. I wanted to show you guys what I mean by it wasn't fitting. So that's where I want it, right there. Okay, if you guys notice this big gap, it's about a 1/4 inch back here. Well, you guys can't see it, but it's a 1/4 inch gap back here. However, down here, this bracket's already touching the back piece. So that's what I mean that they didn't cut this right. It's not proper. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it right along this seam on both sides, and then I'm gonna cut off about a 1/4 inch and then re-weld it. So let me do that real quick because there is literally no other way around it. Here's my first cut. Alright, so my idea is to put this inside there like that. Bring that piece in there like that. And then basically doing this. There we go. Squeezing it past like this, bringing it out, putting it right where it needs to go. Just like that. See how much extra you got on the sides? I think right where I'm at is good. You guys got to take in consideration these little angles right here because this handle needs to swing open. So if it hits against here, it's not going to open. but I think I got it right where I need it. Now I simply sprayed it just because it's so sensitive. If I touch it, it's gonna move. So at least now this way I got my markings perfectly where I need to cut. Cut off the extra little pieces that were on there, since now it's going to be welded straight down to the bracket. Alright, now we put that back on there. And clean this up. Okay, so now that I have this here, I'm gonna put it at right there. So I'm gonna weld that. Okay, so first I'm gonna just tack it. I want to make sure that I got it in the right spot. Okay. So see, now it's flat all the way around. And let me see if the handle works. It works. So we weld. Good. There we go. See, nice and easy. All right. See how clean this one came out compared to this one. Not a big deal because I'll just go over it with the sander. All right, guys. So now that everything is pretty much done, you guys would be finished if you guys had the original handle. That's it. You just screw these bolts in, plug in your hooks, and ready to go. However, since I have to modify the handle, this is where I start. Now that everything is done, I'm going to go ahead and take these bolts off. Alright, so this is what we have to do basically. You guys see this plastic piece right here? That's what we're going to be imitating. And then I'm going to bring it from here on the piece of metal that I'm going to have. It's going to come out a lot further, so then I could then trim it to flush to this right here. So this is what we need. So I gotta sand this down, sand that down, and pop these out. There's one. And there's two. So this is basically our mold. This is our mold, and that's what I'm going to be imitating with a piece of sheet metal or steel. I think something that I have that's that close to that fat or that would work is a 1/4 inch flat bar. So that's what we'll be using. Alright guys, so I just got done spraying this. So as you guys can see, that's my piece right there. I guess for the opposite side I could just cut this off and put it backwards. Just like that. It'll kind of give me a general idea on where this other one will be. It's good enough. I remember those are going to be completely hidden, so don't. Alright guys, so I got my pieces cut and I drilled the holes. Still a little bit warm. So I just basically ran a test fit real quick. And I set that in there. This is the one that takes this piece. So what I'm going to do, since this is thinner than the original parts, I'm going to go ahead and drill this out the next size up so that I can put this all the way through. Now I just gotta weld before I forget. If you guys see this little piece right here, that locked the spring. So I have to weld something on here really quick just to kind of imitate something similar to that. So let me just tack something up on there real quick. Alright, so I just added something on there real quick. Just a little, and then I cut it out so it locks the pin in place. So let me just clean it up real quick. Alright, So now this piece is ready to be put in there. Just like that. The spring should flip all the way around in that direction. Should lock up. And then I should just be able to bring this over this way. Looks like it'll work. So now I gotta do is basically tack this piece flush. There we go. Lock that in place. Same thing goes for the opposite side. Gotta see where I left the. Just like that. And tack that together. Alright. So basically our handles are working now. This is now where I put the spring back to its original position. Now that's fine, that works. Alright, so now the final step is basically cutting these even. These is perfect because it's right at the top, so once I cut that right there. Okay. I might just use this as a handle. Looks like it's a perfect size too. Well, not really, but all right. Let's cut that last piece, and we are good. There it is, guys. All I gotta do is just, well, still gotta cut that bow tie. Put the pins or the rods in, and I think I'm just gonna go ahead and rivet this in place. It's cleaner than having these big old bulky screws. So let me do that real quick. Alright guys, not the greatest bow tie, but we are finished. Get to put these on now. There we go. Everything's good. I just gotta drill and put the rivets in place. Like these right here. Pop it in. Alright guys, and we're down to the final rivet. There it is. The job is complete. We are done. It's only been a couple hours, not that long. It's a quick little job. Alright guys, that's it. It's all done. Quick. Probably, let me see. I started it at almost 3 o'clock. It's 6 now, so 3 hours. And that's because I have a mess. If I had all my stuff organized, just finishing it off with some, oh, I should have masked that off. Finishing it off with some white primer just so that the rust doesn't get into the areas. That's it guys, we're finished. Alright guys, so there you have it. This is a 99 to 06 Chevy tailgate handle relocation kit. And basically takes a couple hours to do. Now you have your handle inside. Alright guys, so there it is. Handle is gone, it's missing. There's a slight dent right here. If you guys get something like that, don't worry about it. That happened to me when I first did mine. Whenever you're going to do the body on it, basically just take one of those plunger things that they use for the bodywork to snap out a panel, and it pops right out. It's mostly, I guess, from the not warping, but you know, since this area right here kind of tightens up the steel around the tailgate, it kind of pulls this. So I could feel it slightly right here, but like I said, it's already happened to me in the past, and I think on one of my buddy's trucks that I did a long time ago also, and then it just pops right out. So it's not a huge deal. The same with all of the little indentations in there. Don't even worry about those. What I was mainly concerned with was not leaving any area that was unwelded, because that's what I did on mine, on my personal truck. And with time it started cracking all the way around. So yeah, let me show you guys. It's already done and painted, well, primered, but everything is working. I also touched up a bunch of the little, he had a bunch of little holes from where I guess they had a cover on here, so I just welded those up real quick. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped some of you guys kind of figure out how to do it yourselves. I will have the links on the description if you guys need the handle relocator or the, you know, the little clips. I'll have a link for those also. So as far as, you know, the job itself, it takes roughly 3 hours. That's what it took me. I could have probably done it in 2, I had to modify that bracket a little bit, or made the if I didn't have to make the handle and I used the OEM handle, I would have probably done it in about an hour and a half. The job does not take that long. You know, a lot of you guys that know how to weld or know how to fabricate are kind of intimidated by it, but it's really easy, and you can make good money if you do that on the on the side. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helps a lot of you guys out that are trying to do a shave on your tailgate. It works the same for doors. I've done doors in the past also, where you shave a couple of doors. It's the same piece, same thing right here. Then you just got to run the actuators and the whole, the whole wireless remote control stuff. But it's a different thing. Same aspect for the welding on the outside though. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.